So we're here in Hawaii, and we decided to come to the botanical gardens today to connect to spirit. You know, in places like this, you really can't help but connect and listen and hear messages from spirit, from your loved ones, and even from the trees and from your surroundings. Just a minute ago, I laid on the ground to look up at the sky with the trees, because these trees are so amazing, and I kept hearing Mother Nature maybe speak, and it was such a message of coexistence, that there's no such thing as invading each other's personal space. I think it's such a powerful message, because we kind of get uptight about being in each other's business, being in each other's space. And I think as soon as we put those walls up, we're creating our own misery, our own prison that we're trapped inside of. And when we're here in a rainforest like this, where all of these different species of trees and palms and even wildlife just sharing this space, just in such harmony, it's such a beautiful message that I think we should be reminded of, that we should share our space and share our lives. And there's no need to create boundaries, because as soon as we do, we create our own prisons. We become slaves to our boundaries, and we become enslaved to our likeness. If we can't move beyond that and coexist with everybody and everything around us, we become enslaved to the boundaries that we've set. People ask me all the time, how do you protect yourself as a medium? How do you put boundaries up? And I tell them, well, I don't really put boundaries up at all, because the more open you can be, the less you're controlled by other things, external. So I think it's so important to remember that, to move beyond what you think should be a boundary and coexist with something instead. And as we're hiking through this place, you know, it's always fun for me to just connect with Erik. And my favorite thing to say to him is, what do people need to hear right now? Anything. And he always shows up with guidance and information for you guys. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to connect to Erik and listen and see what he has to say. Erik always has a way of delivering information for us in such a raw manner. So it's my job to keep it as raw and unfiltered as possible. So that's what we're going to do. He's kind of building on what I'm feeling and hearing from everything around me here. That it's so important for us to step back from our own ideas, and even the things he's saying, like even the things that we idolize, he's actually asking all of us, can we step back? He says the word idolize with a question mark. He says, can you step back from that and not idolize someone, something, and idolize yourself almost, but not in a secular way where you capitalize on your own individuality, he says. But can you be so comfortable with yourself enough that you can completely coexist with anything, anyone, anywhere, anytime? And he says it rhetorically, but it's like a challenge. He's trying to challenge you guys. Anytime Erik comes through with information, it's like he presents a challenge, like try this, try something new, because he wants to keep you guys moving in your own personal growth. And what he's wanting you to do is, you know, we all have those people in our lives that we idolize. We even maybe mimic our lives after the way they live their life. So instead of doing that, listen to who you are, listen to what speaks to you. And this is what he says verbatim. He says, in the comfort of your own skin, you'll find greater similarities and a greater connection to those people that you idolize, rather than, because when you begin to idolize someone, he says, you create a separation, like in your mind and your psyche. You create a separation thinking they're different from you in this way, in that way, which might be the case. They might live differently, but ultimately you put yourself in a state of lack, he says. When you idolize someone, you're trying to do something like they do or be the way they are. And in doing that, you're living in a place of lack. So he wants you guys to kind of step away from that and be still with who you are, so that in that comfort, in that state of just being, you can appreciate anything and anyone without needing to be like. Because as soon as you need to be like, you devalue who you are. You let go of your own worth, he says. He says, I need you to focus on you. I need you to focus on you, being happy with you, so that you can be happy with everybody else too. Because it doesn't start from outside and come in. It starts the other way around, he says. Inside out. So he wants you guys to kind of look at the way you idolize people, or maybe it's even a relationship, and it's a relationship you're trying to get over and you're wishing you were still with them, because it's this, again, he's acknowledging, like, we always keep ourselves in this place of lack, and we create that distance, and then in that we suffer, we become miserable. So again, comparing it to the surroundings, he says, just like being able to coexist with all different types of people, all different species of plants here, allow yourself instead to coexist with someone, to coexist with who they are, and collaborate and communicate, he says, instead of idolizing. You can learn from people, but when you begin to put them up here and you put yourself down here, he says, then you take away from who you are. You can't gain anything. You can't evolve and expand when you're in that state. He keeps saying to you guys, I need you to be you. He keeps doing this with his hands. I need you to be you. I need you to be you. and in that, you're expanded. You're in that expanded consciousness. And through that expansion, you don't really need to idolize anybody. You don't really need that. That's what the ego feeds off of. That's what the false self, false identities feed off of, is the need, the want, and keeps you in a state of lack. He says, and fuck, for what it's worth, he says, you're always going to be living in a place of misery. So who the hell wants a life like that? Of course. So we don't want to keep ourselves in a place of misery, because it's like constantly fighting the storm inside us. When you can be you and be still with that, you can be still with everyone else too. He says he wants you guys to, also, this is just Erik's tips and advice. You know, you guys should know by now how random he can be. And he says to pay attention to what you see. He keeps tapping like this. So pay attention to what you see, but not with these eyes and not with the awakened state. Maybe that's not the right word. Not with the open eyes, but pay attention to what you see through your heart. Pay attention to what you see when your eyes aren't open and you're still awake, because he's showing like this ripple effect. The more you listen, the more you honor, the more you see. And he starts that over, but he's referencing hearing too. The more you listen, the more you honor, the more you hear. So he wants you guys to just honor and be still with what you're experiencing. You don't have to go compare it to somebody else's experiences. You don't have to go and look up information about what it might mean. What does it mean to you? What did that experience mean to you? What good does it do you to always go and look it up and go, oh, that's something. Listening in an authentic manner, experiencing and honoring what you're experiencing, you're always taking the value away of that experience. He says, you have to let the experience speak to you and teach you. You don't have to think about it though. He says, sorry for the language, but it's Erik. He says, don't fuck it up by trying to think about it. Just let it happen. With the whatever you might feel. If you have to go look it up every time, you're never going to experience it in truth. What you want is it in truth, it'll become a part of your, and in turn, you expand and evolve and grow. Again, you're not going to know any truth. There's not going to be any growth there, or personal growth, personal evolution, he says. So he's blowing you guys kisses. He's saying thank you because you continue to keep your hearts open to what he has to share. So there's going to be a lot more, he says. There's a lot more we need to address. It's a feeling of like we need to catch up. We need to catch up and give you guys as much as we can so that you guys feel sturdy on your own 2 feet, he says. So that you guys feel like you can do this. This thing called life, this thing called love, this thing called marriage, whatever it might be. He wants to keep you strong on your own 2 feet with a solid foundation beneath you, he says. And so long, he says, so long as I have the ability, not me as Kim, but me as Eric, he says, so long as I have the ability, I will continue to bring information to you so you can grow and prosper in ways I didn't get to. He's just kind of pulling his energy back and blowing. When they pull back, that's their way of saying, I'm still here, but I'm finished talking for now. So he's still here, he's still resonating. He just kind of hangs out. It's his way of saying he's finished talking for now, but there's much more to come. There's much more that apparently we all need to hear to kind of wake us up, to kind of give us the kick in the bum that we need to continue moving forward. He says to tell you guys real quick to remember the problems that you fixate on really in the big scheme of things aren't that big. So don't make them bigger than they need to be. Work through them, don't react like they're a problem and affect you as much. So whatever you guys are working through, you've hit a bump in the road, get over it, just keep going. Just keep going, that's the key, just keep going. He says if you stop and you fixate on something, it's gonna own you. Because who the hell wants that? So I hope that helps you guys. We're gonna continue channeling Erik for you and our other guides too that we work with to bring you information and guidance that hopefully helps the spot that you're in your life right now. And I will continue to channel my spirit guides for you and hope that this helps you guys continue to prosper and grow. Thank you so much. All right, I truly hope you enjoyed that message, and there's going to be plenty more where that came from. We're going to continue to share these messages with you and continue to channel spirit to inspire you, ground you, and help you feel connected. Join our community. You can like and subscribe to this channel to stay in the loop with more content as we share more information. Join our community online at kimberly-ray.com. Feel free to submit your questions and join our retreats. We have retreats all around the world every year, throughout the year. Also, if you'd like a one-on-one session, connect with your loved ones, you can join me online as well. Social media across the board, find me on Facebook and Instagram as well. And as always, take good care of yourself and take care of each other. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.